Welcome back. This is the second lesson recording for IM1, October 9th, 2020. So we've just taken notes on what different parts of linear equation is. Y, M, X, and B. Y represents the output, M represents the slope, X represents the input, and B represents the y-intercept. So if you were going back to this tau growth, y is 4x plus 2. This is a linear equation, okay, where x in this case represents the figure number and the y represents the number of tiles in figure x. Okay, so it's the output. So, and number 4 is the slope. Okay, the number in front of x, variable x, is always going to be the slope, but in this case it's the growth rate. How many tile is being added each figure happens to be 4. And then finally the number 2 represents the y-intercept, which in this case is 2, which represents the number of tiles in starting value or figure 0. Now if I give you an equation, you can immediately tell me what the growth rate and starting value is. So for example, a tau pattern is represented with the equation y is equal to 3x plus 7. Okay, so then which is the growth? Which is the number that tells us how many tiles were added, and which is the number that tells us that number of tiles in figure 0? Okay, so well, growth is the number in front of the x, and 7 is how many tiles that you are starting off with. So 3 is the number of tiles being added each figure, and 7 is the number of tiles in figure 0. That's the starting value. Okay, so how many tiles is in figure 0? That's 7. What is the growth rate of the pattern? It's 3. Okay, now try to answer in private chat for me. A pattern is represented by this equation now. Y is equal to negative 2x plus 3. So then tell me how many tiles in figure 0 and what is the growth rate of the pattern. So first tell me how many tiles in the figure 0. Is it the negative 2 in front of the x, or is it 3? The correct answer is figure 0 is the starting value. So starting value is 3. And what is the growth? That means how many is being added each figure. It's negative 2. What does negative 2 mean? Okay, what does the negative 2 tell you about how the tile pattern is changing? Instead of 2 tiles are being added, 2 tiles are being taken away. So it's actually getting smaller. That's what this equation represents as far as tile pattern goes. What about this? Okay, for the equation y is equal to 3 over 10x minus 2. What is the slope, or what is the growth? And what is the y-intercept? Y-intercept is the same as the starting value. Okay, so you need to be looking at which is the number that is in front of x, and the number in front of x is always the slope, and the number without the x is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, the slope is 3 over 10, and the y-intercept is not 2, but it is negative 2 because that negative symbol, negative sign, belongs to 2. So the y-intercept is negative 2 and the slope is 3 over 10. Let's try this one in private chat. For the equation y is equal to 5 minus 3x, please tell me what the slope is and what is the y-intercept. Okay, so remember the slope is always the number in front of the x. So what is the number in front of x? It's 3, but it's not just 3. Remember that negative sign belongs to the number. Okay, so negative sign belongs to the number, so it's not, the slope is negative 3 and the y-intercept is positive 5. And you should have a picture in your mind what sort of equation is going to be. So if you have a negative slope, that means it's decreasing from left to right. It's going down like so. Remember, it's the nice negative from the slope dude. So it's moving down like this. He's writing down the slope and he's saying nice negative. So slope is -3 and the y-intercept is +5. Okay, what about this equation? For equation y is equal to -x. Well, when there is no number in front, what is the default number that is often ignored is that it is really same as y is equal to -1 is being multiplied to x. Okay, so when you see a negative sign in front of a variable, please separate this as a -1 is being multiplied to that variable. And we don't really have a number being added. So instead, you can say it's +0 because adding 0 is same as not being there at all, right? So then it's easy to tell what is slope. Slope is the number in front of x, so slope is -1. And the y-intercept is the number without the x, so that's 0. Okay, so at this point, you are going to go on to Desmos exercises. This is modeling landing path using equations. So please join the Desmos activity using this link here. Go to student.desmos.com and use the class code as written here. Okay, please pause the video and try to do the Desmos exercise yourself. I am going to go through the answers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here it just says move the plane so it lands safely. Press submit to check your answers. So if I just say submit as it is, it's not going to land on the path, right? So we need to move this plane differently. So let me redo this, okay? Now I can move this plane up or down so that it kind of, I can eyeball it and maybe this will be about right. Does it look like it's going to make it? Let's try. Okay, it's getting close, it's getting close, it's getting close. Is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Yes, it did make it. Wow. That's a miracle, but actually you shouldn't have made it, okay? You should have come out and say that it's very difficult to just estimate. However, if you put it in a corner plane, then you can figure it out more precisely. The path for a safe landing of the plane follows 15 minus x. Okay, 15 minus x. What does that mean? What is the y-intercept in this case? It's 15. 15 is a number without the variable implied being multiplied to it. So that means the y-intercept is 15. And then the slope is -1. Is this the slope of -1? Well, rise. If I was to draw a slope triangle from here to here, so that's rise is going to be -2 because we're going down, and to +2, so it's going to be -1. So this is going to follow this path, and it's going to end through like that. Okay, so clear. And if I submit, it works. Great. Okay. Now for the exercise on the next 3 screens, your task is to write the equation of the line that safely lands the plane. The example on the left, only the red line traces the path on safe landing. So if it's a little bit off, it's not going to work. Okay, the red right in the middle, that's the safe one. If it's too far to the left, that's not good. If it's too far, slightly slanted off, then it's not going to be landing right. Okay, so make sure it's landing right in the middle like so. And to do that, okay, we need to come up with a different equation. Okay, so currently 2x minus 7 would look like this blue line. Do I really want this y-intercept to be negative 7? Maybe. Or do I want it to be higher? Okay, and what do I want the slope to be? You can certainly do guess and check. However, more precisely, if you use the slope, we can figure this out. The slope, what is the slope going to be? Okay, what is the slope? I can use this point here. And let's see, I can use this point here because it's going through the grid exactly. And I am going down and then to the left. So down by 3, so it's negative 3, rise is negative 3, run is going to the left, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to the left by 6, so it's negative 6. The slope is rise over run, so negative 3 divided by negative 6 is indeed 1 over 2. So we want the slope of negative positive half. Okay, so we don't want 2x, we want 0.5. Half is same as 0.5, and I'm not sure about the y-intercept. So for that, maybe I can just experiment. Okay, so if I have 0.5x plus, okay, where do you think y-intercept could be? If I leave it at 7, do you think it's going to go there? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. It's going to end right that point. That might make it. So let's try that. So let's make that plus 7. Oops. Okay. Oh, plus 7. The y-intercept is plus 7 is over here. That's not what I want, is it? I want this to be negative 7. That's what I wanted. So it's going to be 0.5x, which is half x minus 7. And let's see if that would work. Looks good so far. Okay, then let's go on to the next problem. Okay, now you need to do likewise. Come up with the equation. Please pause the video and see if you can come up with the equation. Okay, so it's easiest if I can figure out the slope. Okay, so what is the slope? To find the slope of this runway, I need to figure out 2 points and draw my slope triangle. I need to go through this runway and go through which would be good points to choose. It will be this one and keep going, maybe this one. Okay, and if I went down by 2 and then to the right by 1, 2, 3. So the slope is negative 2 rise over run. So the slope is negative 2/3, and the y-intercept, I could try as it is, and let's just try that. Y is equal to negative 2 over 3 plus, where are we now? Where is the y-intercept? It's 15. Let's see if it works. Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, and that's the slope, and then x plus 15. Let's see that if that would work. It looks good, 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 good. There we go. Okay, so I used the slope triangle to figure out the slope. And then finally this one. Use the same process. Ellie and Roman are trying to graph the blue line shown on the left. Only one of them has the correct answer. Which one is correct? Okay, so 2x minus 8 or 8 minus 2x. So in this case, the slope is negative 2, and the y-intercept is positive 8. In this case, slope is 2, y-intercept is negative 8. Okay, so does the slope look like it should be negative or positive? It should be negative because it's decreasing from left to right. So I would say Roman is correct. Okay, and there we go. We'll continue in the next lesson recording.